All right, it looks like we are all set and ready to go. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today is Wednesday, October 12th, 2022. This is Engineering the Markets, and as always, my name is Jared. So, first things first, let's get all the quantitative noise out of the way. We're still inside of our expected move this week. We kind of pushed off of yesterday's high around the October 7th close, which was last Friday's close. And the S&Ps did make a new 52-week low on yesterday's session, at least in regards to the SPX. We didn't necessarily close at new lows, so it's a bit of a technical test at this point in time. And of course, today we have a catalyst on deck, along with upcoming earnings, to start to move this market a little bit more violently. You'll notice that the past couple of weeks have been somewhat confined within a region of price. Arguably, we're not really seeing the same kind of trend continuation, albeit we are literally on the edge of a lot of our 52-week lows, and a lot of stocks are actually making new 52-week lows on yesterday's session. So market breadth is relatively poor. If you're looking at an equal weight in the S&P, you're going to notice that certain ETFs like RSP, certain market weighted sort of averages are very poor in their breadth readings. Something like a NASDAQ ETF as well. This is an equal weight for the QQQ. So instead of 500, it's just the 100 NASDAQ stocks. And this actually made new lows. So what this means is no matter where you get the data from, a lot of names in the larger indices are making fresh 52-week lows on yesterday's session. That also goes hand in hand with what we're seeing in regards to the actual indices themselves, because the stocks making new lows hold a lot of market cap weighting. You look at something like the NASDAQ here, and we are kind of looking historically back at September to October of 2020. These are the same prices. So the NASDAQ has given back essentially 2 years of upside based on its relative price. And really that is just a factual statement. It's not a signal or sign of anything. It's just the truth. The truth is we are looking at a 2-year give back across the QQQ. And when it comes to the types of stocks that are making some of those new lows, whether it be stocks like Tesla, who are declining at this point in time, coming off of a trading range that was established near about 300, 265 to 300 ranges, that is also pushed into some of its June low regions. Arguable that still has a little bit more to go, but certainly a relatively weak stock in the past couple of trading sessions. Stocks like Microsoft making new 52-week lows on yesterday's session. And once again, looking historically, what prices are we starting to ascertain? Microsoft is back at its breakout points. If you're looking at probably the point of inflection where things went from consolidative, breakout, and backtest, I would argue that somewhere around 225 is Microsoft's inflection. And if you look at today's prices, that's where we are. So the give back here is notable because of the performance from the previous years and also the repricing that we're seeing in this higher interest rate environment. And while Apple has not necessarily made a fresh low nor a week low, it's similar to stocks like Tesla in a very weakened position and ultimately relatively weak over the past couple of trading sessions. The reason this is kind of important is because a lot of stocks that have been leading the downside historically, you want to be thinking stocks that were beneficial in a post-pandemic world, they have given back a lot already. They've basically already been on the decline. And while they're still making maybe fresh lows, they aren't necessarily the same company. They aren't the same market cap, and they don't have the same weighting as the new sort of decliners, which is our mega market caps, in some ways, even our cyclical stocks. Nvidia, another example, making a fresh 52-week low, albeit looking at what prices we're starting to test. So unfortunately, Nvidia is a bit worse because we are back at the same prices at the beginning of September of 2020. There really wasn't an upside move that held. Instead, there was more the reaction off the highs, and we've transited all the way back to these lows. So what I want to call out here is that a lot of stocks are on edges of risk, and these edges are defined by participation, market participation that occurred historically, and really where smart money has either bought in before and may continue to kind of buy in the future. Below these prices, there isn't much of support. You know, technical support really falls off after these levels are lost. And it's one of the reasons why this market feels sort of precarious, not only because the certain stocks that are selling, but also the edges that we're sitting on. You know, it's the ranges and the pricing that kind of scares a lot of people because we're literally on them, and the downside is much, much worse. In fact, a lot of these drop zones, based on the relative price that we're at today, are equivalent to another 50% downside on some particular names. So, you know, you imagine the idea of Nvidia coming into something like a pre-pandemic high, which we're nowhere near, but those prices are in the zone of about 75 per share. Nvidia right now is somewhere about 115, 120. And while that's not necessarily 50% for Nvidia, it's definitely an impact if we start to see that cyclicality lean a little bit further to the downside. I make this argument simply because stocks like AMD have already done it. You know, this is not it's not a bias. It's not necessarily just a projection of fear. It's a observation that Nvidia is not special. Stocks like AMD and Nvidia are sympathy plays. And if one stock can make it down there, so can the other. So this observation kind of comes into play whenever we're looking at bigger picture supports. You know, the ranges where the most participation occurred, and obviously the impact that we're having now across our short-term catalysts. I will say that today and tomorrow are going to probably be some big market movers. We're likely to see some extended volatility for a couple sessions. And this is, of course, leaning into earnings, which is, of course, the title for today. I'm going to quickly just kind of cover what's on deck. Norm and Carlos will also cover this briefly. But after my session, we will be seeing the first round of data, and that is, for now, the PPI. Just like CPI, this is kind of broken into month over month, core and X, food and energy, along with the year over year breakdown. So there's kind of four numbers that you can start to track. And you're going to see these broken down in trading terminal as well, along with things like what the market is expecting. So a lot of our estimates are slightly under, especially in year over year. We're looking at about 0.3% decline relative to the previous year over year reading, which was July's year over year. No, sorry, August. Forgetting my order. So the market is expecting some year over year decrease, but it's also expecting things like month over month to actually be a little bit higher. And what I think is important for when we finally get this data today is not so much the numbers themselves, but how do they fit in regards to their estimates? And as always, what is sort of the initial reaction by the market? Today is very likely going to be a day of decision. It's going to be a day of market movement. And if we're looking at our short-term levels, I think it's probably the day where one of these shorter-term ranges will break, either back to the upside, and we sort of know where certain levels exist, or to the downside, and we'll actually start exploring some new price levels that haven't been seen since 2020. So what levels am I referring to? Kind of falls in line with that balance range discussion. You'll notice that yesterday we actually pushed into about 363. That is arguably the lower bounds of the previous balance range. This is kind of evolving throughout the trading sessions. And right now it's also our VPOC. So if I'm looking at maybe the past couple of weeks of S&P trade, we really haven't moved much. This is where we've been trading. It's where the centralized risk is. And understanding this from the concept of compression or just energy. If a market trades in a certain region for a long time, you build up a lot of open interest, build up a lot of positions, and the spring just kind of coils slowly but surely. Sometimes that energy gets released, and arguably there was a little bit of a release here. Of course, to the upside, maybe some people got out after breaking these ranges. But since we're back inside, and since this is still a central area, a volume node, we're kind of building it back up once again. So I truly think that today and tomorrow is going to be the way to get out of this. It's the way to push past these levels. And like I said, I don't really mind or analyze this as bullish or bearish right now. The trend is bearish. That's very simple to say. The downside right now is dangerous, and obviously we'll need something dramatic to push us over the edge. But if we're looking at the risk to reward here, we're at 52-week lows. So any bounces from here sort of carry that very high risk, but also high reward. If the market stops selling at these levels and we move away from our risk ranges, then conceptually we'll view this as a bottoming price activity in the future. The argument here is that we just haven't seen follow through. And that's usually how bottoms get formed. Unfortunately, you're usually at the edges of risk. People sort of feel the most pain, not necessarily capitulate out. That's usually involving speed, but more so the complacency that gets established at the lows, mostly without price movement. So not necessarily calling a bottom here to any degree. But I have seen some characteristics here, and some of the stocks are at levels where they can simply just stop selling. If we're talking about losing supports, it's hard to lose that initial support on the first test, no matter how deep the retracement happens to be. And I will be looking at certain key names to kind of facilitate. Now, another stock that maybe is a little disappointing here is stocks like Mrna, and this company, this envisioning of the future profitability of this company has certainly damaged its reputation. Been looking into sort of the outlook here and the fundamentals of this particular company, and obviously it's down. It's obviously from a previous perspective, this was a growth company, had a lot of ad revenue kind of benefits. But now that we've seen transitions into the new Meta related objective for the company, along with the CEO's drive towards it, market sentiment in this particular stock is very bad. And it's one of the stocks that has just fallen from grace. You look at market cap here on Meta, this used to be almost a trillion-dollar company at one point. We're sitting at about 345 billion market cap right now. So it's still a big mover. It matters for the S&P, but it's nothing like it used to be. So noteworthy to see these declines. Now, as far as earnings are concerned, we'll kind of shift into that discussion. Couple of things to kind of keep aware of. A few of these names are not accurate on Trading Terminal, so just be sure to spot check whether certain companies are releasing their earnings this week. But as for the ones coming out today, we really only have Pepsi. I was looking at Alcoa, thinking it was today as well. That is, according to my trading platform, not true. But we will look at Pepsi here. It's got a nice sort of technical trend line that it tends to be kind of reacting and responding off of. It's also one of those stocks that has a fairly high weighting for the consumer staple stocks. You look at an XLP and you start to look at its fundamental breakdown here. Pepsi represents about 10%. So, if you're talking consumer staples and you're talking spider consumer staples, you really only have to be talking about 5 stocks: Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Costco, and Walmart. The rest of them fall off a bit. You could argue Mondelez and Philip Morris fall in the same category as Walmart, but top 50%, you really just need those 5. And for Pepsi, we are getting a bullish response for earnings. Go back to Pepsi's chart here. We closed out at about 162.50. We're looking to open somewhere near the highs, so long as PPI doesn't bring the market down with it. And for Pepsi, on yesterday's close, the option market for Friday was pricing about a $5 move. So looking at some of the questions here, I'll answer Paul, Sam. What to expect with stocks like Nvidia cause you to be on margin. So we'll talk through that a little bit. But for those unfamiliar, as we get into earnings, we're going to shift the discussion more to the option market. We're going to be looking at expected move quite a bit. And as we get into this season, we're going to take some notes relative to previous earnings this year. For one, if you recall last earnings season, a lot of our discussion was about how stocks were respecting their expected move. In fact, you could take a look back and see about 75% of last earnings cycles stocks, ones that had fairly active option markets and weekly series to trade, those were stocks that respected their expected move the following day. Sometimes they move slightly outside into Friday, but for those who are playing earnings, you'll know that expected move is super important because you're looking at heightened implied volatility. And as an earnings trader, someone who takes the overnight risk and steps into that actual announcement itself, you want to be knowing what the stocks are doing relative to their implied volatility. Just like the SPX, whenever things are breaching and breaking expected move, it simply means that the option market isn't paying you for the risk. If you're selling that premium, you're the one who's having to feel the pain on one side of the trade or the other. It's obviously a neutral bias when it comes to implied volatility. So neutral directional bias, sorry. So for earnings, and we're starting off here with Pepsi, the conversation is simple. Where did we close? For Pepsi, we closed at 162.50. Where are we looking to open? Somewhere around 167, 167.50 at the highs. What did the option market expect that volatility to look like? About $4.5. I'm going to round up to 5 to simplify the conversation. What does that mean? It means that Pepsi, if it opens in this region and until Friday, this is technically till Friday, if it stays within this 167.5 to 157.5 math, in that region is the expected move for this series. And what typically happens after earnings is this implied volatility starts to go back down. It rallies into the series, into the earnings, and then it gets decayed or crushed after the earnings are out, because the point here is that people are hedging risk. If you hold Pepsi into earnings, you need to basically prepare for at least this much movement. You don't know which direction it's going to be. No one really does, but you need to prepare for about that much movement. And that would be if we fall in line with the expectation. So how do we trade that? Going into earnings, if stocks are following their expected move, you do things like premium selling activities. You want to be doing things like selling condors. Some people go out and sell the straddles and the strangles if they're okay with the sort of open, undefined risk. And even more advanced traders will look to things like double calendars and double diagonal spreads, selling in the short-term series, selling the high IV, and then defining their risk in the next series. I want you to notice how significant this IV difference happens to be. This is only 1 week away, but the market has to price volatility relative to an event, and they do it in the short-term series, whereas someone who doesn't want to necessarily open themselves to wide margin will close up that risk and use things like diagonals or calendars to cap it off. So, that definition, those strategies are things that we talk about in Bear Bull Traders chat room. It's something that myself and Artie are fairly familiar with. And if you're willing to learn more, feel free to join us in the Bear Bull Traders chat room. So Pepsi is looking at about a $5 move today. It's already, had its earnings, but the earnings call is coming out already. I'm aware of that, Amar. And if you look at the option series here, you're looking at a fairly significant spread of open interest. I'm not saying this is prices necessarily to target today. We'll need some volume to kind of get a sense of it. But if you're looking bullish, we've moved the expected move already. So anything higher is going to be a breach. And in doing so, we want to target the highest open interest, which means if we break from 167.50, we have a chance for a $2.5 to $5 move, essentially a doubling of expected move for the week. That would be, of course, the bull side. If you're playing bearish today, that would mean that Pepsi's kind of fading back into its previous day close, or PDC. And I would argue that that would simply be reflected as the put side returning to where the open interest actually is. Once again, just kind of noticing here that the central area of trade is reflexive. It's basically equivalent on both sides. The reaction has been bullish, but it doesn't mean the earnings call won't push it back in. And as an expected move trader, this is what the option market priced. So anything more is going to take some volume. It takes participation, actual new market interest to rally the stock further. Otherwise, we're looking at more of a fade or just a consolidative price range, with 167.50 being the high end of the expected move. So this is how I evaluate earnings. It's not to say that there's sometimes a bias. Sometimes the market actually shows that bias in the open interest. And sometimes there are price nodes that are simply the most transacted. But in general, the strategy here, as we get into earnings, is what sort of stock is it? What sort of pressures are we expecting? And obviously the outlook of certain stocks is going to be a little different, along with what did the option market expect? Because if I'm a short-term trader, earnings are important. It's a move, it's a binary event, but the dynamics of the option market matter more in the next couple of sessions. Obviously, fundamentals will reflect themselves over time. Technicals and market dynamics are better in the short term. They are more impactful in the short term. And I say that with fairly high confidence, not necessarily like it's fact, but it tends to be true. So when looking at Pepsi, I'm using it as our first example. It's a great stock to kind of evaluate expected move, risk range. It's obviously got a nice technical sort of trend line here. So a bullish move from here can be seen as maybe a possible bounce play. And then, of course, if you're looking at the big volume node that Pepsi has established, arguably a bit of a channel trader in the past couple of months, then you would say that moving back to VPOC would be your target. And of course, it doesn't have to happen today. Pepsi tends to move anywhere from, we'll kind of look at this region here, about $2.50, $3 in one session. Sometimes you get some more volatile events, but I'm mostly looking at earnings here. You kind of want to center in on how wide is Pepsi on its earnings day and how much volatility can you expect on that day. So for a day trader, that's going to be more important. Okay, so a couple of questions on YouTube. Rosie, I would say that, outside of your positioning on Nvidia, we talked about that risk level. Anything below here is a drop zone on Nvidia. So, if Nvidia can't hold its footing at the support, I don't see support much lower. I don't see any supports lower than that. There are short-term moves along the way, little zones of interest, but there's nothing like this. There's nothing built like this. So it basically is a do or die moment for Nvidia right now. And I'm not sure how much it's going to move in these ranges, but I'd love to play it just from here, even back to like the 130, 140 region. And that would, of course, require the market to be a bit bullish. But into earnings, if you're asking my truthful opinion, it's probably going to do this. It's probably not going to go anywhere because they've repriced it down to September 2020 supports, and we're pretty comfortable trading in this volume node for a while. It's a big one. So, I'm hoping for a little bit of this. I'm cautiously optimistic if we keep losing these lows, and I'm expecting range bound trading, because it's in a range. It's in the previous trading range that it established already. What do you think about crude oil from here? I've given my bullish and bearish thesis on price levels in crude. I was the most bullish at 77 a barrel. It's an inflection level. It's where I expected the downtrend to end. We're looking at a breakout right now. Back test will be important. We are looking at the back tests probably occurring in this point in time. This is a sort of doubling of previous pullbacks. Every other pullback didn't have this type of range. So a back test would be likely. And what are you looking to do on the back test? You're probably looking to buy the short-term moving average. So anywhere near the 20 would be ideal because it's where the downtrend kept rejecting. If this is going to uptrend, it needs to hold the 20. Do I expect crude to uptrend right now? No. I expect it to trade sideways. All right, so I'll answer the rest of the questions in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and shift over to Carlos and Norm. PPI coming out in about 30 seconds. Be prepared and obviously trade safe today. Talk to y'all tomorrow.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope you're having an amazing morning. We're going to jump right into what's happening with the SPY, Norm. I know you're probably listening to those numbers at the moment as we can see the SPY
Yep.
jumping here.
PPI came in hotter than expected. So it's not quite as important as the CPI number we'll get tomorrow, but it has an indication of what we'll get. So it's no bueno. We'll see. We'll see how things go. We'll see. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for things to react. The year over year came in at 8 points. Hang on, I've lost it. Year over year. Sorry, I believe it came in at 8, like a tenth hot. So anyway, yes, Brian. So that's yes. I listened to the squawk. That's the fastest way to get that info. We dropped all the way from being up a decent amount, touched previous day close. Now we're bouncing up a little bit. We'll see if that holds and it wants to continue to go back up, or if it's gonna just give people an opportunity to get in short. So go for it, brother.
Yeah, you got it, man. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll come back to it in just a second here. Guys, let's take a look at our gappers list today. We have a couple of things in the green. This might change depending how this information is going to continue to develop here in the pre-market this morning with the SPY and the CPI numbers that just came out. So we'll keep an eye on that. But right now we got Lyft on here. I thought I saw, oh no, maybe not. I thought I saw Uber, but maybe my mistake. But those two very active yesterday, obviously with a big catalyst there. So I think they'll be in play today again. I think the catalyst there is actually pretty big, and it's actually not the first time we heard of them doing this. I read into that a
Which
little
one
bit
were you
more.
talking about?
Uber and Lyft about
Oh
the
yeah.
labor laws. It's not the first time we heard about this, Norm. So this is coming
Well,
up
this is
again.
something they've been through before, but on a smaller scale because
Hmm.
they did this in California.
Right.
Trying to
Correct.
classify gig workers as employees, causing a mess, but this is a national deal.
Yeah.
There are differing opinions on how big of an impact, if any, this will have on them. Um, so we can dig into that when we get down to them in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of, let's take a look at some of the stocks we had in play yesterday, Uber being one of them, which again actually surprised me with how this thing traded. Normally, Uber doesn't trade very well. Obviously, the catalyst yesterday is very important, and you can see here the drop in the pre-market, started pre-market, got the drop here, and continue into the market open. I mean, just look at this continuation. It's funny, a lot of us were looking at this here and thought maybe this is extended already. No, kept going pretty nice. And then it gave you a beautiful reversal. And Andrew spoke about this a little bit. Someone asked him in chat, why don't you wait for a double bottom? And not on the specific ticker, but just overall, why not wait on a double bottom sometimes to catch a reversal? Sometimes you don't get that opportunity. And you didn't get it here on Uber. You had to get a quick reversal back to VWAP, and then from there it just kept going almost to the high of the day on the first rally. The second time here, it did get it. So Uber, very nice, very clean. We also had Coin on deck, which again actually sold off at the market open, and then had this beautiful double bottom. I found the base at 65, and look at the takeoff you had here. So this actually traded very, very well, very clean yesterday. I didn't look at Mara. But yeah, Mara also very nice and clean as well. With both of these guys, you could have not gone wrong with either one. We had Delta, and we also had American Airlines, and we also had we looked at United as well. But all of these dropping down yesterday quite a bit, and then reversing back to the VWAP. But they were a really, really nice short yesterday as well. I didn't look at Oxy actually. I think I might have replaced Oxy with something else. But yeah, didn't really look how the price action took place on this one. We had Apple, and then we had Nvidia as well, which again all traded with kind of the overall market as well. So just a lot of fun stuff going on, guys. Here, a lot of activity. I gotta tell you, this market, if you are a day trader that's disciplined, can be very, very rewarding. The volatility and the moves are definitely fun, and we're going up to earnings as well, so that's going to help a ton create some more
Yes, earnings.
opportunities.
I guess official, but they're Pepsi reported this morning, but they're not that great to trade. The
Yeah,
banks start reporting tomorrow, so should be good. All right, as we already mentioned, PPI came out a few minutes ago and caused that falling off the cliff candlestick, I'll call it. FOMC minutes come out at 2:00. So this is an overview of the behind-the-scenes conversations took place 2 weeks ago today. In the formation of the Fed rate policy and that announcement that we got 2 weeks ago. So, excuse me. Should be interesting to see what's inside their heads, and then a few of them will be speaking throughout the day. And we'll get some. I know Neil Kashkari's speaking. I was chatting with one of our members, DMing about the fact that timing on that is uncertain, as different sources have different times of when Neil Kashkari will speak. He is the Minneapolis Fed president. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. I anticipate we might get a little chop today with CPI coming out tomorrow, but maybe that hot PPI number will spur something to get it going a little early.
yeah, we're definitely getting some moves here that are going to create some opportunities. The SPY coming back down, as you can see there, to the previous day close. So a little bit of a bounce. Let's see if it breaks down from that. That would be interesting to say the least. So
the low is literally yesterday's close to the penny on SPY.
yeah,
right. We'll see if it
right
breaks
on
lower.
Right on it. All right, let's take a look at what's on our gappers list this morning. A few of these names I'm not familiar with on the top end, but let's see. Oh no, I
It's
remember
because
this
many of
HKD.
them are garbage.
I remember this nonsense on HKD here. You remember this?
Oh yeah. How
Just
could you
madness. Yeah, just madness. So again, not a ticker that I want to be associated with at all. I don't want no part of this stuff. I don't care what's happening with it. I don't care. It's just the amount of risk you have to take on something like this is just not worth it. Reminds me of what was the crazy ticker yesterday? Dice, right? It's just you're gambling here. You're rolling the dice on this dicey type situation, and it's just look at this here. So guys, just be very, very careful when you choose to trade these tickers. That are just insane. The next one is Peggy. Peggy here up 16.8. I don't like the pre-market action. The float on this 4.4. 1.5 million shares traded. There could be, if you're a scalper, there could be some scalping opportunities here. If it stays here at 590 and maybe continues to break higher, that could be nice. So yeah, that could be a low flow off the day if it continues to do what it's doing. Norm, is this one? I'm not sure if you looked at them because they don't look great, but is Peggy one that might have some good catalysts on here?
I don't have a catalyst on it. I can't find one.
Yeah.
That's really that interesting. I mean, nothing special. So I don't know what's going on there. It's 4 million share float, 4.5. So low float, and
yeah. This list is sort of garbage. I might as well tweet something out. Tweet that me and you are live here if anyone wants to join us on Twitter.
You have that
Because
hotkey ready?
What happened?
You have that hotkey ready?
Which one?
You know,
Garbage trucks. This one here.
There you go.
Absolutely. Always ready to go when we have garbage like this, guys. So no for the first two as we get going. Let's take a look at KNBE. All right, what do we have here? Ooh, my goodness. KNBE also not looking great. Looks like a buyout. So not
this is
fun there.
This is an acquisition, cash, private equity, take private deal. So run from that as well.
Yeah, let's get away from that. All right, one that we know, Mrna. And Mrna, what is it up to? I have not pulled this up in some time. They're up 8%. Any major news with these guys?
This just popped onto the scanners, brother.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so Merck and Mrna to develop personalized cancer vaccine.
cancer vaccine. What? Okay. Yeah.
So you're sorry, I snorted. So you're not a believer.
No. I mean, let's find a cure first. Vaccine. So you take the vaccine, you won't get cancer. I mean, hey, listen, I wish
That's what that would mean, but it
that would
didn't
be
work for that
great.
other thing either.
But no, yeah, man, these type of catalysts. Look at Dice. Dice was what they found. They found a phase one of whatever. These catalysts are just brutal at times. I don't trust them. Careful with that. Nevertheless, is here is up 8% on that news. 250,000. Let's put as a possible. Let's see if there's any buy into this. GRIN not looking all that good. Looks very spotty. Daily looks horrible too. And the volume is just brutal, guys. Again, we need volume. We need things to move with some volume that we can take advantage of. This one here in the daily is just horrible. All these moves here have happened with less than 1 million shares besides this one day here, right? So I can only imagine what that price action looks like, right? When you look at a stock that only trades less than 1 million shares, this is what you get. How do you find a setup on something like this, right? It's just no way. Um, Heading down to Lee this morning, they gapped up 3.5. They have been on just on a complete downturn here. So they're up 3.5 this morning, um, giving a little bit back so far. I'm not sure if there's any news on it today, but thinking of
These have
Lee,
just been in meltdown mode, man. I haven't
yeah.
seen anything super specific to these. Maybe somebody can throw any of these. But they've been on like a 5-day slide from what they were 17-ish bucks, and they've lost 25. This one's down, call it around 25% of their value over the last week. So I think they're just getting a little reprieve.
Yeah, yeah. And I see Neo is up slightly too a little bit here again. I don't think they're just really in play at the moment. All right, let's take a look here at Lyft. So Lyft and Uber, I think those will be interesting. Maybe more Uber than anything. Uber was really clean yesterday. I'm assuming Lyft as well. Yeah, no, Uber was much better. So let's see. Let's see what Uber does today. They're up 1.5 with 200,000 shares traded. Again, we might not get a crazy day like we did yesterday, but I think it might be worth having on this list. If not on our main list, if we find stuff that looks better, we can drop it down to our secondary. Um, XBEV, what do we have here? Same thing, right? Neo, XBEV, Lee, they're all just gapping up slightly here. I'm not sure if they're heavily in play. If anything, I'll watch Neo because Neo has been decent to look at once in a while. NCLH, they are up 2.1. Again, not really in play, very light volume. I think it's just kind of the overall market when it gapped up this
They
morning.
got an upgrade out of
Oh, they did.
by some obscure analyst, I think it was.
What was the upgrade
Where do I
to?
have it? I can't even remember, brother. But it was an upgrade. I just can't remember who did. Let me see here.
Gotcha.
Oh no, it was UBS. So it wasn't obscure. That was a different one I was thinking of. I don't see it was upgraded to buy from neutral. I don't see a price target.
Gotcha.
Lyft was the one that Lyft had an upgrade as well. That was the obscure analyst, Gordon Haskett.
Okay. Let's take a look at what's gapping down today. So not a whole lot on our gap up list. That looks great this morning, which we kind of knew based on some of the ticker names here. IMUX, they are down 14%, 750,000. Had a big day yesterday. Low flow sitting at a lower flow at 24 million. Look at yesterday's action here. So going on their third day of just straight madness or activity here. Not a huge fan of these type of lower price stocks that break out like this. I think you can find some opportunities here. It's just not for me. Let's take a look at CCJ. They are down 13%. I don't think we ever looked at CCJ. What is this? This is
This is a uranium miner nuclear company they're buying a stake in Westinghouse Electric. I don't know if this is worth a squat, but
no, I don't like those tickers. And sometimes the pre-market action is usually the best one on these. That they don't do much after that. They'll have their move and they'll just kind of be silent. So yes, I'm not a fan of that. Wow, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and these are, besides Uber, uh, pretty much questionable. We'll find something to trade, no doubt about it. We'll start looking at some of the stuff that our members and Norm, anything you have that you like this morning so far.
Nvidia.
Yes. Nvidia is good. Yeah, usual suspect. We'll add that on here. I'm gonna remove some levels there. Nvidia is good. Volume is a little lighter than I would have thought by now, but they're gonna be good. They're good. These guys have been a whole lot of fun. Any other ones?
I'll let the room call them out. They're going to call out what I'm going to call out anyway. Let them
Okay.
have their day in the let them have their
Have to shine.
yeah, get their
Let's see
I don't
what
want
we
to steal
got
their
going
thunder.
on. All right, we're looking at Jason Tesla. Yeah, Tesla. Going down the usual suspect list. Tesla's good as well, and again continues. I'm waiting for Tesla to put in a green day, and they have not done that yet, guys. Everything here, they
It's
gapped
funny
up like
that would have been the other one I would have called out right then. So I knew
Yeah,
it was coming.
this is insane, man. 217. So yeah, Tesla is definitely in play, guys. I mean, that's a good one. Thank you, Jason. Pepsi. You know what? As Pepsi's not a hit or miss, but it is. You have to know how to trade this ticker. I know they have earnings, and usually pre-market is not great. They're gonna get some volume at that open, some volume. Not saying it's gonna get great volume. They trade horrible for day trading. I have not seen. I don't think I ever traded Pepsi once. So yeah, so even with the earnings, they're gapping up 2.2. I'll be surprised if there's not anything that trades better than this today. I'll be shocked, even with the earnings. So I'm not gonna add it to my list. But Dave, if this is one that you have traded before in the past, or you like the way it moves, you could definitely add it to your list. If it's gonna be in play, today should be the day, right? Let's put it that way. I still think you're going to get some horrible price action on this. INTC, once in a while they're good. Earnings as well, right? On INTC.
I don't believe
Uh,
so.
Man, they're quiet. I don't see anything happening here on INTC. Yeah, so
They have earnings later this month. They have layoffs. That's what's going on with
layoffs with them.
INTC.
Okay.
They're cutting their workforce, cutting costs.
Yeah. So that news not doing a whole lot right now. They're pretty flat at the moment, so I'm not gonna add them to my list time, and we gotta wait and see what's happening there. Yeah, I have mRNA here. mRNA is here. Actually looks pretty good, guys. I mean, they're up 10%. Yeah, I might move this up. I thought I was gonna find stuff that looks better. What
Time to
is
do
this
something.
thing? What is this thing? Yeah. It says give Amanda Motrin again. I don't know why this kid's coming up like every week. It must be a weekly alert. That's what it is. I'm like, what are you talking about? My daughter's fine. All right, I got to. It must be a weekly alert. I think last time it happened was on Wednesday too. So all right. So yeah, Richard, mRNA is on there. Good to go. What else we have, guys? Looking over on Twitter as well. Guild, which is Gilead, right? I think.
Yes. YouTube,
not
you mean?
the best. Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, not the best at day trading stock. Day looks interesting for a possible break.
There's no volume, but it trades
Yeah.
terribly intraday.
Yeah, it really does. So I usually stay away from this one. That's what you're looking at here. You got this area, right? Important, nice daily level there for a possible breakout if it can get going. Neo, I have as a possible. We got volume here. I think the overall market is just going to dictate what Neo does today. So kind of waiting to see how the numbers are received by the markets this morning at the market open. Right now, we had a drop right to the previous day close, a little bit of a bounce, a lot of movement. We'll have more information when the market opens on this. Okay, so AMD. Why is my bottom screen? There we go. All right, so AMD, same thing, guys. A lot of this stuff right now is just going to look like the overall market, but AMD is one of our usual suspects, so I definitely want to keep it close, in our main list or even in our secondary if we find things that look better. S and N popping up on our gap down list. Oh man, straight garbage. We're gonna be using the garbage truck a lot today. Straight garbage. I don't see anything fun on this at all. Trace no volume. What else, guys? mRNA, Pepsi, BTU. BTU here. No good. No good there. Okay, perfect. I think we're all set, guys. I mean, we're not gonna push much. I think we gotta wait for kind of this news to settle in a little bit with the SPY, and we're gonna get some more opportunities moving here. Looks like we might be coming back down to the previous day close. We'll see. All right, we'll take it to announcements. I know it's a little bit early, but that's okay. We'll kind of want to wait and see how this thing plays out here. So let's head over to bearwoodtraders.com.
/webinars.
Yep. Let's go over here.
Anytime you're interested in finding out what we have going on for the next couple of weeks, you can either access this in the nav bar under webinars or go to bearbulltraders.com/webinars every Monday. Onboarding and technology with Carlos, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then strategy on Tuesday. We've got Carlos next Tuesday talking about the 5-minute opening range break strategy. That is 8 p.m. Following week is Andrew talking about moving averages and how he uses them in his trading, which ones he uses, why he uses them, and how he uses them. Then on Wednesday, tonight, we've got Creda, 5 p.m. Eastern, talking about discovering your inner demons through self-reflection. And then following week, part of Mike's Trading Psychology 101 series, how your personal values affect your trading performance. That's back at the normal 8 p.m. time. Thursday is for mentorship, 11 a.m. with John, 4 p.m. with Ed, 8 p.m. with Thor. Can anybody that is in Ed's room right now confirm if he's doing that tomorrow, just so we can let everybody know? Ask him real quick. Let us know. Thank you. I know he's out of town, I believe gone Friday, but I don't know if he's doing mentorship on Thursday or if he's leaving Thursday afternoon. All right. Don't forget about tradingterminal.com. Not sure. Can you refresh that? Not sure why the gappers is not showing up at the moment. Anyway, tradingterminal.com, free resource to you. Check it out. It has our scanners and everything else. There they go. And then stocktradingsimulator.com. You can either access it through Trading Terminal or directly by going to that URL, where you can hone your trading skills 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in our free web-based replay simulator. All right. If you are watching on YouTube, you'd like to try the room, you can use the promo code PreMarket24 when you check out with the intro membership. It is a one-time charge, does not recur. And then if you're interested in becoming an elite member, elite annual, read 50, half off, use that code and get a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much, Norm. Does Benzinga Squawk work on BBT Terminal? Yes, absolutely. And let me show you guys, for those that do not know where that is, if you're new to the community or you are over on YouTube, if you come over to tradingterminal.com, this little thing here, if you click play on that, you're going to get the Benzinga Squawk. Okay, so pretty cool, especially during earnings season. Nice to have that running in the background and see what's going on. So definitely
thank you, Peter. Peter confirmed with Ed he is doing his mentorship tomorrow afternoon.
All right, excellent. All right, guys, excellent. Let's get to the watch list we have now. It is not a blockbuster list by any means, but we'll see what develops as we move forward here. So we'll start with Uber. Uber has been very, very active yesterday. Really surprised me with how great it traded. I know the catalyst is a big one, but still, it really surprised me with how clean they were. So hopefully today we can get some continuation of those great moves. So we'll keep that on here. I have Nvidia, which moving with the overall SPY right now, but this has been great to trade. Tesla as well. Again, no green days on Tesla yet. This has been in play for sure. And then we have AMD, most of our usual suspects: Nvidia, Tesla, AMD. We can also look at Apple as well. We can put that on there. Either one of these will work. How did Meta do yesterday? I did not have them on my list. I know they had an event. Did that do anything for them? Did anything happen? No, it's just kind of overall market stuff here. So 1 o'clock was their event. Nothing significant to see there. Okay. XBEV. Yeah, I see XBEV is gapping up, right? So is Lee, right? So is Neo. All of these are gapping up. So yeah, I'm aware of that. I did put Neo on my secondary list. I might actually move them up because we don't have a whole lot to watch today. So I'll keep 5-6 tickers on here. And I expect AMD, Apple, and Nvidia to kind of move very similar. Tesla could do its own thing. Has great volume today, by the way, already 1.6 million shares traded. The other ones are not so heavy on volume. right now. Neo has good volume as well, so I'll keep an eye on them. I might move Neo up here, so you can pick your favorite one. Lucid, is it doing something as well? Lucid hasn't been great though. Out of all of these, Lucid has probably been the worst one as far as movement and volume, I think, right? They're all moving very similar daily wise, but I think this has probably been the worst one. But again, if this is the one that you prefer to trade, you have options, which is great, right? Yeah, you can play any of these. All right, levels. Let's start with Uber here, guys. So right now we have a massive drop. That's the low to 23, low of yesterday. Got your highs and lows in there. Then before that, we were hanging out at 27, 28, almost 28.50 there, right? That is what you have there. This morning, your high is going to be sitting at 25.33. We're going to slam a level there. And then towards the bottom, is the previous day close? Almost. It's like 24.70. I'm just going to keep the previous day close. I'm not going to worry about this one little thing over here. I'll keep the previous day close. That's going to be more important to me. Heading to the left, let's see if we have, I want to get a level between this gap here. So if we could find something here, that would be great. So looking in here, we do have, actually we have a nice level right here, 23.85. Might actually be 24, but I'm marking at 23.85. If you draw a line there, you can see a lot of resistance right on here, which is nice. The nice breakout here, and then the retest of a support of the resistance that now became support, and look at the pop there. So that's good. 23.84, 85 looking real nice there. Outside of that, guys, I think you're pretty much set. I'm not going to worry too much about putting anything under 23. If we come back down here, we got two levels to worry about before we start digging into anything below 23 here. So I don't think you're going to get that type of drop today. I mean, this is a very big drop, guys. We're going from, we opened up at 28.50, looks like, went down to 23. We recover a little bit. So even with the recovery yesterday, that's a big drop already. I don't know how much downturn we have on this. Not, I don't think back down to 23, at least not if yeah, unless the market, has a collapse or something. Here's Nvidia. Nvidia right now, low of the pre-market 115.41. Great volume this morning on Nvidia. Hold on, let's get Nvidia in here. Nvidia, here we go. Actually, okay volume. Tesla's the one with the great volume. Nvidia has okay volume. Low of the pre-market 115.45. Our high is going to be sitting over at 117.73. So we'll put those two levels down there. And then outside of that, guys, I'm not going to add anything else. We're literally right in the middle of the highs and lows for the last two trading days. So you got tons of stuff happening here. Previous day close. I'm not going to make this more complicated than what it needs to be. It looks good there to me. Tesla, we got our highs and our lows. Our low 215.50. High of let's mark that. High of the pre-market, we are looking at 219.69. Pretty much doing what the overall SPY is at the moment. But these guys do have amazing volume this morning. Here goes AMD. AMD's trying to hold this 56. I can't believe we're sitting at 56 on AMD. Yesterday, 57.51 is today's low, and the high we're sitting at 58.55. So two levels there. When we move to the left here, yeah, Nick, we'll definitely talk about our mRNA. Might actually move that one up. Volume is starting to pick up, and now they're up, 11.7. So they're climbing nicely here. Not sure about their catalyst, but they're day trading wise, they're looking pretty good, at least these numbers at the moment. So right now, if we put our highs and lows in here, actually, let's remove some stuff. There we go. Our highs and lows, we're going to mark those down 57.51, and then we're going to put this one up here over at 58.55. And I think this is another one where you just leave alone, guys. You have your levels here. You have a nice range, which you've kind of been bouncing back and forth on, right? 56 and 59. Which is kind of right at the previous day close, which seems to be the middle point of this range. So very interesting AMD chart that we're getting here. So heading back down to Apple now. So Apple, again, one of our usual suspects. Our high of our pre-market is marked already, 140.58. What was that? High of the pre-market yesterday? Yeah, that's what it was. I'm like, did not mark that this morning, but it was exactly the high of the pre-market yesterday to the penny. So maybe a penny off, but 140.59 high of the pre-market this morning as well. The low of the pre-market sitting at 139.14, but right below that you also have the previous day close as well. So Another one that I'm not going to add too much stuff on neither. I'm going to leave that just the way it is. All right, let's look at mRNA. I think mRNA, oh, look at this. mRNA moving nicely up 12% now. I mean, this thing is cranking, guys. Definitely in play today. We'll move it up on the list. Let's mark down. I'm going to mark down the pre-market high for a couple of reasons. 136, whole dollar number. And I know we might break out of this, but look, if you look to the left here, you can see that has been an area of support and resistance in the past right there. So definitely want to have that down. The next level you want to have is going to be down here as well, because you have good support happening here and you have resistance happening here. So you definitely want to have that level down as well. So let's mark that down there. That's going to be around 130. So 130.28, mark that there. And then above this pre-market high, 136.02, we do have a level here over at 145 is the next best level I see on the charts on mRNA. Actually, mRNA not looking bad today at all, guys. It's going to actually move this one up. We can always move one of our usual suspects like AMD and Apple. We can move those down. So I'd rather watch something like mRNA that's, doing something different than the overall market. They got a catalyst as well. And yeah, it's looking pretty nice. Let's move Apple down. We'll bring Apple down here. Let's make some changes, do a little shifting here. And I think mRNA will be much better. Neo, you know what? Neo's pre-market action, it's very active. Coming back down, so it's gap up. I'm not sure why they all gapped up this morning, if it was overall market or it's just something going on with the EVs, because they were all on here. Some of them dropping off now as they get below 2%. But this is yeah, it's worth watching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's bring Neo up. Let's bring Neo up. Neo has been good to us this month at least. So at least the first half of the month. Let's see how the next half goes. All right, what else, guys? Looking pretty good this morning so far. Uber, exciting day yesterday. Nvidia, very active this morning. Tesla, great volume. AMD, so mRNA, it's just insane right now, breaking through the high of the pre-market. And Neo, okay for the most part. Okay, not bad for the type of week that we are in. Remember that there's a lot of stuff happening, waiting for the big information to be released. And I think a lot of stocks just kind of going sideways a little bit, waiting for that to happen. All right, let's get some questions, guys. We got a couple of minutes here, and then we'll get to our moderators list. Carlos, I think your list is as good as it's going to get. Yeah, I agree, Jason. I think I'm with you. It's not a blockbuster list, but I think there could be some really good opportunities out of this today. And I really like mRNA. Actually, I'm seeing a really nice move here this morning on that one. Yeah, we got a pretty good list today. Inflation data comes out at 2 p.m. today. Is it today? Is it today? I don't think it's today, right? It is today. Okay, so that should be interesting as well. More news or data to create opportunities and movements. Have we seen CCJ? Yeah, we did see that. Here is a CCJ, guys. Again, uh, these type of companies I'm not a huge fan of, right? These oil type companies. If anything, if I'm going to be looking at any of them, Oxy will be the one, right? Oxy will be the one that I'll be taking a look at if I'm going to be looking at that. And actually, Oxy, we can add it to our list this morning, our secondary list. Always good to watch to see what it does. You can go a lot on what the pre-market does. The pre-market on Oxy means not nothing, but almost nothing. Almost nothing, right? Market open, it really can give you more information on what it's going to do. So the pre-market could have horrible volume, be choppy, not be doing anything that looks exciting. And at the market open, you can get some pretty good moves in there. So I'd rather look at Oxy, but the price action, guys, is so important, right? That is your number one indicator when you're trading. It's the price action. When you look at these companies like CCJ, BP, there's a ton of them, oil type companies. Their price action is just horrible. Regardless of what they end up doing, the price action is horrible, right? And you have some days where they do this, right? Where this is pretty interesting. But usually, and this is the thing, usually when you have moves like this, the overall market might be causing it, and there might be other things that are going to be moved nicer with better volume, right? That's my thing. That when you have the big moves on a ticker that trades horrible, there's I want to say 8 times out of 10, there's something else moving alongside of that that's going to be much better to trade, right? So that's the thing. So I don't give them too much credit for doing things that the overall market is doing. You could go to look at an AMD, a Tesla, Nvidia, and catch that same opportunity, that same move. So mRNA, they're talking about the catalyst is, Jared. They're talking about a vaccine for cancer, which is I don't understand. I got to read up more on that later. But that is what's causing that. Hey, listen, man.
It'd be awesome if it happened, but
Oh, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing if they're able to pull
maybe
that
one
off.
day it will. Are we there
Yeah,
now?
we're all hoping, man. We're all hoping it's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. We're hoping it's sooner than later. But yeah. So that's moving them now, and again, regardless of what we think of this catalyst, it's moving well. It's moving well. So that's good. Um, All right, moderators list is coming along here. I have Eamon, I have Thor, I have Peter. We'll wait for a few more. In the meantime, we can answer a couple of questions if anybody has anything we haven't gotten to. Let's hope it's more effective than the COVID ones. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh man. All right, good. 115 likes this morning, guys. We're just 85 away from 200. We'd love to get this. If you could help us, that would be amazing. Really appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. It does help us out a whole lot. It really does. As mRNA is breaking out of 136 here, looking to push at the moment. Good volume, almost 700,000. Looking nice, guys. Looking real nice. Right, we are set. Gappers list on the green side is actually getting shorter as things are seem to be going below 2.2% here, and nothing else new on the gap down list. What is the difference between turbo breakout and the volume break up? I don't know the difference of that.
Scanners.
Oh, you're talking about scanners. Okay, so there's a volume break up. Where is that? I don't see that here. What's this? What's the volume breakup? Oh, volume breakouts. Oh, I think this is breakout out of level. So yeah, they're different. They're different. I don't have the technical answer for you, but I think these are breakouts of like a high of day or something, I believe. So this is different than turbo breakdown. Turbo breakdown is when it's just kind of is moving in that direction with a lot of volume, right? So for example, Uber yesterday would have been, I'm sure, hit this list, turbo breakdown, right? It was just breaking down with a lot of volume. A breakout, you usually don't have this breakdown trend. A breakout could happen here, right? This could be a breakout. It's not going to be a turbo breakup, right? This could be a volume breakout. If it broke out with volume, it's not going to be a turbo breakup. So there's a slight difference in the volume breakout and volume and turbo breakdown and breakup. I'm sure there's technical information. I don't have it handy. We can get that for you. Excellent. We are good to go. Let's get to our moderators list, guys. Actually, let's see. Let's wait for a little bit more. But I see we got some stuff coming up there on the moderators list. Nvidia had a turbo breakdown yesterday around 3 p.m. It did. It did. Did it show up on the scanners? Did you? Yeah, that's definitely a turbo breakdown. Yeah, so you got the volume increasing here. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that hitting the scanners for sure. All right, good. Very good, very good.
I think everything did in the last hour.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Sometimes, and the scanners, guys, keep in mind, it's another tool. It's another tool to add to your belt. When I first started, I used to look at the scanners like if they were the Bible, and every time I saw something in there, trying to find an edge without knowing any better, I'll take anything that shows up, and you use it to see what maybe you don't have your eyes on. See if there's something that looks good, see if it matches your trade book, and then you take an opportunity. But there's just a tool, right? You're gonna sometimes get stuff on there that doesn't make any sense, like our gappers list this morning, right? There's stuff on here that's hitting some areas, but they don't make sense to have on our list based on what we trade. So be mindful of that as well. SPY just broke PDC. It did. Let's take a look at the SPY.
Yes.
What we got going on there?
So somebody, hang on, asked Stoyan asking, why are the mods watching BA and LEN? My screen, it seems they have comically low volume. I have no idea. I'd like to know myself the answer to that.
What they're watching?
Because
I'm not watching those.
Boeing. Thor's got Boeing and Lennar. And Eamon has Boeing as well.
What do you guys know that we don't know? Eamon, Thor. What do you guys know that we're not in tune on?
Boeing on the daily a little bit, maybe.
No, yeah, and it's starting
Lennar is
to move here.
horrendous.
There's some news breakout. It looks like BA is starting to. Yeah, I like the daily. That's probably the best thing here. But yeah. Now, all jokes aside, BA. We've seen BA not have a great volume and still do good because it's a nicey stock. We've seen that, but they have to have a catalyst. Or else they're difficult to trade. Some people are saying BA got a downgrade, Ben. I'm not sure. Maybe that's why. And what's the other one you said?
Lennar, LEN.
LEN.
BA got it got initiated coverage, not upgrades or downgrades. But yesterday. It got one out of Wolf Research, outperform with $180 price target. This morning, Credit Suisse gave it an underperform with $98 price target. So wildly different expectations on this thing. Yeah. I don't know. Credit Suisse seems to have their own problems. Maybe they're just trying to spread the misery around. I don't know.
They're trying to make themselves look better by putting everybody else down. Oh, man. Yeah, BA is starting to move here. I like this daily here. We've been holding that for a while. If we could break, that'd be nice. And then Lennar, no, this for me is just no. All right. Cool, guys. We're all set. Let's get to these moderators lineup. Let me bring this over. As I'm doing this, hit that thumbs up. Help us get to 200. We appreciate it. Let's see what our moderators are looking at as we get ready for the market open. So let's go ahead and bring this over here. And we'll get
Megan's got Netflix.
All right, here we go, guys. So Peter reporting no IPOs, no SPACs for today. Eamon will be looking at Roblox, Risky, potential shorts, Apple, and BA. Thor will be looking at Mrna, Tesla, BA, and LEN. Peter will be looking at AMD, Apple, Mrna. Secondary list, Neo, Oxy, and Lyft. And Megan will be looking at Netflix today. So,
does that mean you're going to be trading Netflix, or you're going to give up on trading today and go Netflix and chill?
Yeah. Both. Excellent. Do you guys hide pre-market so it doesn't mess up your moving averages?
No, I don't.
I don't hide. I leave it. So, all right, cool, guys. We're all set here. Should be an interesting day. Here's Brian with his list here. He's looking at BA,
Boeing too,
and Tesla. So
maybe when he hops on, he can explain Boeing.
Yeah. He'll break that down on what we got on Boeing. Excellent, my friends. Guys, thank you so much for joining us over on YouTube. We appreciate it very much. All right, Brian's throwing out some more stuff. He's looking at CCJ. And Brian will have to explain that one too when he hops on as well. So a few.
I understand that one. That one makes some sense. That one makes some sense.
Yeah.
Got almost 3 million shares traded this morning. So
we'll wait for Brian. It looks like Brian is stringing his watch list today. We'll see if he throws out another ticket that we can call out. Guys, I believe Citigroup has something negative about them today. All right, we'll see. Well, listen, me and Nor could be wrong on this because a couple of people that have it, Eamon, Thor, and Brian now. So maybe it's something that we don't know. We'll find out shortly.
All right, stop spamming in the chat, man.
Yeah, what's up with this? All right, guys. Yeah, spam will get you muted for a day, so be careful. It just happens automatically there, so be
Shaw
careful with that.
Ryer trades. Please stop spamming the chat.
Okay, guys, we are all set, guys. 9:14. Have a great day, guys. See you guys later today. Well, let's see how this market is gonna play out. Looking forward to see how things happen here with the SPY. All right, take care, everyone.
All right. Take care, guys. Trade safe.